are the two options. My server is currently in a superposition of broken and fixed.
Just don't look at it.
Exactly. I can't look at it. It's just in some cloud somewhere. Probably literally it's about to fall through the ceiling of my office. Okay. 0.60 stuff.
Yeah, I'm really tired of having to worry about this goddamn PR of mine. I'm sick of it. Sick of it.
You do have a brilliant expiration of amount of cares to give on PRs. They exist for so long, and Steve's just like, kill it!
It's just something like hanging over my head, you know? Oh, good. Okay. Yes. I'm only one, you know, approval away from it actually being approved.
Nobody do it.
Somebody has to approve it.
I'm sorry?
It's great, yeah.
Okay, go. Approve it.
Let's just do a +1 then.
Let's have a look at this. Where are we? Have you fixed all my points?
I've fixed most of them. Yeah,
you haven't fixed Albert's though.
About the PRs, which
no, Albert's got some inline comments. Just a couple of typos. Removing the question marks.
I fixed the question marks.
Doesn't seem to have updated.
Well, actually, Stephen, did you pull my PR?
Oh, no, I did not.
You should pull that in.
Okay, so that gets rid of the question marks and stuff?
Yes. It replaces them with not documented yet, so I don't think it's...
I'm not convinced that's any better, to be honest.
I'm not convinced it should hold up 0.6.
Yeah.
Well, somebody go and fix those docs then and tell me what those functions do. That's the whole point of having this, right? I had to go at it. I don't know what it does.
Okay, but you also added the to-do, which I think is good.
Yes, because you can generate that, right? You can.
Yeah.
Sphinx can go through that. I thought Sphinx could go through there and you can isolate the to-dos.
I think you can, but that doesn't mean I know how.
There you go then.
So I just learned stuff. I have to get sync. Okay. So there, as I can see it, there's like one thing that I missed from Albert, which is like I will fix that. Let's see if we.
Refresh that page. Can we merge my PR first? Because then it will conflict with Steve's and it'll make him angry.
Which one is that? 1513?
You've got 2 outstanding Albert comments to fix. Also, you know, NASA should really invest in a better internet connection.
I can't hear Steve at all. Can
No,
anyone
me
else?
neither.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Steve, we lost you.
He's probably just screaming.
Quick, let's get my PR while he's not there. In all seriousness, 1512 people.
Well, I'm okay. I'm okay with 1512.
It just makes the WCS axis documentation a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And in both visibility and content. Also massively expands that large plotting example to actually use WCS axes.
Good.
Looks fine.
So I realised while explaining to David how this worked earlier that I hadn't really documented it well.
Can you guys hear me? Am I
Yeah.
back? And by the way, I heard all of that. What is Albert's other comment?
We probably are going to tread on each other's toes between you and 1512. Because well, I don't know, saying that, are we? Let's have a look.
I don't think so.
Your PR is ridiculous, Steve.
Well, I think it makes sense to get the big one in first, right?
Yes, big one in first.
Well, have you fixed it? We're going to have to make it run as well.
Indentation is the other one. Indentation. Time.
Typo and indentation.
No, that I touched that, but let's see. 219.
We should. I'm just going to highlight my comment here. Is that we should make those plot examples, comment the hell out of them, and put lots of white space in them, and because they're like easy to download and run code examples for people. So they should be really easy to understand.
Yeah, I didn't touch the white space stuff.
Yeah, that's
That
fine.
can be done later.
We'll go through and do it again. As we find them, I just wanted to bring people's attention to it.
Okay, I addressed both of Albert's things.
Let's kill that Travis build.
Reluctantly.
We should wait for that Travis build to finish. Even though it has nearly finished. Have we merged that containerization PR yet?
What is the plan with the docfix stuff?
Yes. Huh?
You mean doc test fix 3?
Yeah.
Fix it.
So
There's one failing test left, but it's running now.
so it's done.
There's one left, but yes, it's nearly done.
Okay.
But there's review on that. It's pretty straightforward, really. And then there's 1512, 1513. They need fixing. I think that's it. Yes.
Wait, what? There's more?
Yes, I've spawned 2 today.
Map cube plotting bug fix. Oh my god. What is this? Make the WCS section in the plotting guide better. Very specific. I see. Okay. Plotting with WCS. Yeah. What about 1470?
That is a packaging problem that I will address when we have frozen it.
Okay. So what are we doing? Are we just waiting for 1497 to pass again?
Well, you should also look at merging 1513. Reviews on 1513, please.
I see. This is wrong, right?
Hmm.
You say .xrange.value.
Where?
Two line in MapCube line 212.
Yeah, no, that's right.
What if xrange is in like, I don't know, degrees?
Yeah, it's true.
You need to set it to whatever you
But
want.
xrange extracts the default C unit. No, that just plots in default C unit. It just plots in whatever the unit is in the FITS files, whatever C unit is, which is the correct behavior. Because
But what if somebody changes it? What if somebody does .xrange, 2 degrees because they want to see it in degrees, and then I don't think you can assume that. You don't know what units that's going to be in.
no, but whatever units it's in is what the units the plot should be in. It's worse to force to always plot in some arbitrary unit than leave whatever the unit is defined in the metadata of the map. If you want to change the units in which it's plotted in, you need to change meta C unit 1 and meta C unit 2.
But xrange won't get updated if you change that value.
Yes, it will, I think. Pretty sure it will.
I don't know about that. Because that only gets populated when you open the file.
No, it doesn't.
We have an actual set.
X range and Y range is a property. Sure, it is.
Yeah, but not C unit isn't.
But X range pulls from self.scale, pulls from self.units, which pulls to C unit 1. Yeah, that's right. If you change C unit in the metadata and then do X range, it will change.
Well, okay. But I'm sure there's some bugs hidden in there.
Yeah, the bugs hidden in there are malformed FITS files.
Well, I'm sure you can change one thing and then it won't propagate.
The biggest bug in there would be if X and Y were in different units. No, that won't matter either. No, that's right.
Okay, then fine. Whatever, we can leave it like that. Okay, and this looks, first glance, looks fine to me.
So you would have to change the C unit then, right? If you wanted to plot, say, instead of arc seconds to degrees or something like that, right?
Well,
or degrees to whatever.
If you wanted to just plot the labels in degrees, the easiest way to do that is WCS axes, but without WCS axes, we've always been plotting the map in the native fits units. Whereas WCS axes allows you to do unit conversions on the labels on the axes. So it allows you to have WCS axes allows you to have a fits files in arc seconds, but display the axes in degrees. Whereas pre-WCS axes SunPy plotting was always in whatever units the fits file was in, which was pretty much implicitly assumed to be arc seconds.
Okay, I think we need to move on because
this works for HMI data.
Yeah, I mean currently this is a bug fix and that's good. It's fine. I do think we need to spend some more time. I know that I am very confused by WC's axes, and we need to probably spend some time working on how we want to deal with these kinds of issues of units and such.
So yeah, WCS axes is not perfect and does make doing it makes some plotting operations more complicated, but it also makes some plotting operations easier. So it's depending on exactly what you're doing, it swings around about.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is not something we have to deal with for 0.6, I think.
But the most important thing that WCS axes does is if you plot an uncalibrated HMI file, the y-axis will be the right way round, which is upside down.
Right. Or rotated or whatever.
Yes, rotated by almost 180 degrees.
Right.
Your build's nearly finished, Steve.
Well, assuming that Jack's version built, I just changed 2 small typos, so I doubt it's not going to actually build.
Liana Bill, your bug's fixed in master now.
So what else are we waiting on for 0.6?
1510, no, not 1510. 1497 and 1512, and that is it. Unless someone finds another bug, like I did, or Nabil did this morning, which made me sad.
I think it should make it everyone's job not to find any more bugs.
Or unless I find any bugs while I'm packaging it, which has happened before. Oh dear. The doc test build's hung. Oh, wang it.
Yeah, I mean, this is not...
Steve, run your PR locally and tell me there are no warnings. And if you tell porcupines, I will find out.
Okay, I'm running it locally. Here we go.
So 1470 has a 0.6 milestone on it, and it's still open.
What's that?
1470 test plotting functionality with WC axis 0.4.
That's a reminder for me when I'm building conda packages.
Right. Okay.
Okay, what else do we need to discuss for 0.6?
Nothing, I don't think. Unless anyone else has got anything.
I have 2 PRs, one on the website and one on the SunPy logo.
I saw these, but I didn't really know what you were doing.
So let's see, the website, what did I do? Well, the first big thing is I removed the button, you know, on the main page that says download latest, download release.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it just points to the installing SunPy documentation, and it just says install SunPy.
Does it point to stable install SunPy documentation? Where are we?
Yeah. It does.
Stable guide installing SunPy.
Yep.
And what else did you do?
I made a small change for the logo. So instead of displaying generated PNGs, I'm switching to displaying SVGs, which I think most browsers can display now.
Yeah, it's a font rendering issue is the problem with SVG though, because that font is of some proprietary Adobe font.
Yes, that's why I removed it.
Hey!
my other PR.
Did you remove it and replace it with a pretty and open font?
No, I did not do that, unfortunately. I just made them shapes instead of fonts, so it doesn't need the actual font installed. It just has the shape of the font there. I looked around a little bit for free and open fonts. That would mean changing the logo significantly, and I didn't want to do that. I mean, it's just Myriad Pro, which is a fairly standard type font.
I mean, it is installable on most platforms, but it's still not.
Yeah. So that's what the other one. So the SunPy logo PR, it updates the SVGs to remove the font completely, the reference to the font completely. So for those of you that are not aware, SVG is like a vector graphic file format, which is open. It's actually part of the W3C. So it's like a standard web thing. And what's really nice is that since it's a vector format, it doesn't depend on resolution at all. So you can essentially zoom in. It's super sharp and everything. Almost all browsers now can render it, so you don't need to include like a PNG or something. You just include the SVG. But it does, just like a web page, like you can say, you know, there's text here, and this text is made with this font. And just like any font on the web, if you don't have it installed locally, then it has to put in something else there. And so that would mean that the logo could kind of change. If you didn't have the font available, it would, like SunPy would get rendered differently, which is weird. Not really what you want from a logo. So I changed it. So basically now I removed the reference to the font, and so it's basically like think of it like a rendered shape. Not rendered. It's just a shape of the letters, essentially. It's not an actual font. So it will never change. Oh, that's weird.
But the shapes you used are proprietary, right?
No, they're not proprietary. They are just
Well,
like
if they're tracing Myriad Pro, then they are.
No. Proprietary is not the right word.
It is.
Copyrighted.
Yeah.
They're copyrighted, but with a very permissive license. Yeah. You know, they're as copyrighted as like Times New Roman and Arial and like all the other fonts that you use throughout the web that you don't think about because, you know, the licensing is so easy. So I didn't want to. So you're right, yes, but I didn't want to spend time trying to figure out going to some other font. But I did want to make these.
I don't care about this just now, right? If you just say the logos are fine, then
yeah, okay. So the logos are fine. So, and I also, one thing I did do is I created some new rendered versions of them, and I changed the SunPy powered logo. It's now, I would say, a little bit nicer.
Does it have a capital S and a capital P?
No. It's the same.
It should have a capital S and a capital P. I have a version that does because it's always annoyed me.
But that's not how the logo looks. That's not correct.
But that's how the logo should look. Because that's how we spell SunPy. It's very annoying.
The logo and how we spell
This has bugged me for literally years, and I haven't done anything about it.
A logo does not have to look like how you actually write it down. It's just a representation.
It's art.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, you also don't type the logo in those colors. Why don't you type the logo with the colors?
My point is that it just annoys me. It should have a capital S and a capital P. That's all.
It doesn't look as nice, okay?
It does!
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does!
It breaks up the flow. There's no reason to have, when you're looking at it, it's nice to have it all in one line, one shape.
No.
Anyway.
I think we can move on from this
I think
one.
we can move past this very silly discussion. But
Yes.
the problem is that my one thing about... So when you just save the SVGs, you save them as paths, but have you still got a Inkscape SVG or something there which is font?
Which is what?
Which is it as a font, so it can be edited.
As a font? I don't think I understand.
It should definitely have a capital S and a capital P. It annoys me so many.
I disagree. But I also went ahead and made some swag.
So I see. I've been meaning to do this for a while as well. The downside with this is, well, the slightly interesting point about this is where's the cash going? I mean, for the moment, I'm assuming it's going into your PayPal account, but...
Yeah, well, it's only... I reduced the royalty to the smallest possible value that they would allow me to do, which is 5%. And yes, it technically does go into my PayPal account, but you know, I'm not going to keep it. We can use it for whatever we want. On the other hand, I've been through this before, and I sold some stuff like this before for another project, and I saved up as high as $26. So what we'll do is next time we meet together, some beers will be free. They'll be on me. But don't expect that we're actually going to make very much money.
That's fine. I mean, we can. It's more of a board thing anyway, I think.
So how do we get the swag? Where is it?
So
there's a link. There's a link in the which.
I do not see it.
In the group chat.
Oh, okay.
Could
Yeah.
I check? Is that background meant to be grey or white? Because especially on the t-shirts, it looks very
It
definitely.
looks very grey.
It's supposed to be white. Yeah, it does say, it says color white, but then it's like gray. I don't know why.
I can tweak the image if you need that. Sorted.
Wait, tweak what image?
Well,
I don't
I
think
don't know how
it's
it
the
generates
image. I think it's the website.
Yeah, it's the website doing something weird. And there's supposed to be a male, like a men's shirt, but for some reason it hasn't shown up yet. It goes through some process.
It is there.
Yeah.
Curiously enough, the women's T-shirt is $4 more than the men's T-shirt.
I'm not going to comment on that. I don't know. I don't know why that's true.
Surely one should be 70% less than the other.
$16.
So,
who is breathing into their mic? Oh, here we go. New product.
My experience with having Helioviewer T-shirts is very positive. People do stop you if you're wearing these things, so it's not.
These
not
are
just a
pretty
gimmick.
expensive, I have to say.
Well, this is what's available on
£5
this.
for a sticker and 20 quid for
No.
well,
No. You get a number of them. Look at. If you click on the stickers,
Okay,
you
it's a
actually
sheet
get like
of
a
4
sheet.
for £5.
Yeah. A sheet of 4, yeah. But
Still.
these are big stickers. Those are pretty big stickers.
Okay, well, you know what? I think we should
Move on.
we should discuss this at the board meeting.
That's
The
probably a good
smaller,
idea.
one, the circular ones, it's $5 for a sheet of 20. So that's nice too.
Can you put 0.6 is coming on these?
I have stuff that I want to say on this, but I will save it for the board meeting.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so has my thing passed yet?
No, it broke.
What broke? Oh, wait. Yes. It's also taking a really long time on my machine.
It broke. The error is in the comment on PR. Which means you lose out to 1512. I'm going to merge it. I suggest you merge master in while you're fixing that.
I don't understand what that warning means. Block quote ends without a blank line.
It means there's not a line underneath some block. You have to have a blank space line underneath certain RST blocks, like quotes or code blocks or what's the other one? The block section with the vertical bars. Yeah.
This doesn't even tell me where the hell it is. Nor did I touch this.
You must have touched it.
No, this must have been you, Jack. This must have been you.
Someone touched it.
Sorry, what? This doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't even tell me where the hell this is. I don't know. It doesn't say. I get no warnings on my local side, on my side.
Oh yes, I get it. SunPy Net VSO Interactive VSO client. Yes, I did touch that file.
Well, I suggest you get back in there and touch it again.
It's up to Stephen now.
Where is it? Where is it?
Is it sunpy.net.vso.interactive client .missing information, missing_information?
Line 12 of the doc string.
Line 12.
Block quote ends without a blank line. Unexpected unindent.
What, line 862? Underneath the to-do?
It's probably the to-do.
I hate you, Sphinx. What about this parameters? I'll put one here, too.
Yeah, things like to-do, all of those like Sphinx directive sections, like to-do and note and blocks and code blocks and basically anything that is like indented or otherwise special in Sphinx has to have a blank line after it so that it knows where to terminate it.
Okay, I've also merged upstream. Thankfully, there were no merge conflicts.
Wait.
Okay, so assuming this goes through, so that'll get pushed in. Then what?
Then I think we're done.
So then you'll start packaging?
I will start packaging.
What's the ETA on that, Stuart?
I'll try
I mean,
and
how
get
long
it
will
done
it
by
take
the
you?
end of the week.
A week?
End of the week?
I'll try and get it done by the end of the week, but that depends on how much time I have and how much I want to neglect my thesis.
Yes, of course, of course. Great.
Thumbs up for neglecting theses, is that what you're saying?
It's a well-established tradition.
That's true, yeah.
Okay, so in that case, 0.7.
Yeah, let's talk about 0.7.
What features are we going to get into 0.7
Well, what's in our
in
roadmap?
6 months-ish?
6 months.
Where's the
We'll
roadmap?
put Python 3 in if you do it.
Wait. Where's Uni Downloader and what's the other one?
Hey, can we close 1813 now? Do you think we have made SunPy functions accept AstroPy quantities?
1813? What?
813.
813. Sure. Yes, we have.
Have we? What about parse time?
What about what?
Yeah. Parse time accepts quantities. Yes.
No.
Yeah, it does.
Does he?
Yes.
Parse time needs fixing for different reasons. That's not a quantity problem. The only bit that doesn't really accept quantities is bits of spectra, but you know that don't count.
Yeah, Spectre is a mess. But no, parse time will accept if you build. There's a functionality to do put in a time and then a time difference, a time delta, and if you give it a time with units, like number of seconds, it will return the correct. Sorry, time range. Time range does it. Time range.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we're not talking about the same thing here. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, parse time doesn't matter.
No. Parse time needs replacing, or at least augmenting with AstroPy time, but that's a different project for a different time.
Yeah, that's a much
If you
crazier.
see what I did there. Okay.
Well, the roadmap for SunPy, which I suspect is rather out of date, says full support for Python 3 and integrate AstroPy time. It's on the wiki pages somewhere. It's not very well linked to, but it's there. But this has not been updated in a while, so...
Link in chat. 0.6 says integrate AstroPy coordinates didn't happen. Functions to accept AstroPy quantities did happen. Include high quality SOA for ephemerides didn't happen. Replace our pixel to world transformation function with AstroPy WCS did happen. Enable storing light curve data in the database. I think that happened.
Ooh, but we don't... Well, the database is not... Well, what is the status of the database?
It's there. It works most of the time.
Well, but who uses it?
Well, that's kind of the problem. More people should use it, and we might find some more bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, problem for another day, maybe. What about the projects from last year, Uni Downloader and
Yeah.
Coordinates, yes.
Uni Downloader should be 0.7 for sure.
Coordinates should also definitely be 0.7.
Well, we had considered releasing those as point releases.
No.
Can you elaborate on that, Stuart?
No.
No,
We're
seriously,
releasing them for
what's
bug
the
fixes. If we want to release them as 0.7, with one as 0.7 and one as 0.8, that's fine. We can do lots of small releases, but they're not point releases.
Well, what?
Point releases are stable API bug fixes.
I see.
No code should break between 0.6 and 0.6.1.
That's fine. No code will break. We'll just add functionality.
That counts as breaking code.
Why does that count as breaking the code?
Because the API has changed.
No, we don't have to change the API. You can just provide
It's changed
a new...
because there is now more of it.
Well, I don't... Well, wait a minute.
It doesn't
seem
matter.
like that's a problem.
It doesn't matter. We can just release it as 0.7. It does.
Well, we
does it
could
matter?
do that. Yes, that's correct.
Well, I'm starting to get worried that we're going to run out of releases before we get to 1.
No, we're not, because
Oh,
you can have
keep
11,
going.
12, you can have
Yeah.
0.356.
Right. Stephen, do
Not
you think
base 10 decimal.
we're more than halfway?
No,
Well then.
that's what I'm saying.
Go and read the semantic versioning website. And you will be learned. Link
There's
in
a
chat.
whole bunch of code from last year's Google Summer of Code that, we either, what do we do with that? I think the Uni Downloader and Light Curve, I want to see those updated.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's what we're discussing, right? That's almost done, I think, isn't it? Unified Downloader, anyway. It just
and
didn't
from
make
that
it to
you can
0.6.
Okay, so I am happy with the big features that are listed under the 0.7 milestone at the moment.
Wait, it just says full support for Python 3 and integrate SunPy time object?
No, not the roadmap.
Oh. Then
We're not getting the time into 0.7. That's being bumped.
where are we looking then?
The milestone.
It is actually the roadmap as well, but someone just updated it. Stuart Mumford, 2 minutes ago.
Integrate SunPy coordinates.
So the
Yeah.
list of things under 0.7, the milestone.
How about differential rotation? Can we get that in? Finally,
Define differential rotation.
correctly doing it.
Define.
You mean differential transformation of images?
Yes, right.
I've already done that,
Well, but it's not integrated and
That's true.
working.
but it works. It's quite easy. In fact, it's really easy. It's just quite slow.
Well, people keep asking about it, and it currently doesn't work for anybody because it's not integrated. So we need to integrate that so people can stop
Send
asking
you
about
the
it.
notebook if you like, and you can do it yourself.
Sure. I just want it to be. I just want it to be in the list. That's all. We
That's
don't
fine.
forget about it.
In fact, I think there's already an issue for it. It's just a case of finding it.
Yeah.
What about Spectrum? We need to talk about Spectrum at some point.
Yeah, we really do.
Because I don't know if it really does anything, right? It's pretty much... It needs a lot of TLC.
It needs someone to take it on as a project.
Yeah.
Maybe someone at Trinity who's actually using it, if anyone's actually using it anymore.
Do you
I
mean
have
Trinity?
some interest in it, but I don't have much time. Sorry, Laura, go ahead.
Are you talking about Trinity like Dublin, or?
Yeah, well, they funded writing it, so
Nobody uses SunPy apart from myself at the moment. So I don't think so.
Because it was Peter that funded writing the Spectrum stuff.
I think if it was, I think it's worth doing because I think people do use Spectrum, but they just don't use the SunPy. But at the moment, I don't know of anybody that uses it at Trinity.
It's almost, I don't know whether it might be worth just starting again on the Spectrum almost. I mean, I don't know. I haven't actually looked at what's there right now, but...
Yes, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that, yeah.
I think we should have a task of integrating Iris. And then in that task, we will figure out what we do with the Spectrum object.
Okay, so that is a can of worms too large to target at 0.7. I think cubes and Iris and that stuff is good and should be worked on, but
yeah.
I think that we shouldn't say we're going to get that into 0.7 because I don't think it'll happen, and I think it'll be another 15 months before we do a release if we do that.
Well, that's
I
fine.
don't think there is the person power to actually pull that off.
Well, I've already signed up to do some of that, and I want to do some of that. So
have you been speaking to David and Mathieu? Because he's got someone who's working on that at the moment.
No.
Part of it. That's the other thing. Like the whole cubes plan is very fragmented at the moment. We've got people scratching specific itches for specific instruments, and there's no coordinated plan.
Right. And I'm suggesting that we kind of continue that way because, well, first I would like David to make his changes a little bit more visible to the rest of us so we know what they're doing. But
so he's got to. He's doing it as an affiliated package at the moment.
No. Why?
Because of the whole fragmented thing.
Well, what I suggest is we add Iris support in the instrument package, in instrument side, and then to do like basic things like being able to view, the SGI images. We can do some of that already, but to be able, like, usually the way you want to work with Iris data, you want everything linked together. So you want the SGI images at the same time as you can look at the spectrum that comes from the actual slit. So you want them pulled together.
If you want to work on Iris stuff within the confines of the current data types, that is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
That's what you start dealing with a multi-dimensional cube object that we need to sit down and do some serious planning.
Right. Yeah, and I'm suggesting that we do the first thing to include that in 0.7, so that we can tell people we support Iris data.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
However, is that something that we want to block 0.7 on?
I mean, aren't we talking about more of a wish list right now? And
see, we've had wish lists before, but I think we should maintain the milestone as things that we are not going to release 0.7 without for all time, rather than doing it in the last month before release.
Yeah.
So what things are we actually going to hold 0.7 until we're finished?
Well, okay, so let's be a little bit clearer what the release will be. Is it actually 6 months from now? Do we really want to hold ourselves to exactly 6 months from now?
Not exactly 6 months from now. 6 months from now is a rough guideline, I would guess. It would be nice to get a release out roughly every 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but that's important, right?
I think that it is more valuable to say what features we want in a release than the time frame, at least for the moment. Seeing how we've just gone 13 months without a release, we clearly don't care that much.
Well, kind of. I mean, they're related, right? If you say there's 6 months of time, you can only do so much work, and so you want to limit.
That's true.
what's
I
going to
mean,
be in
yeah,
it.
I agree. So we should keep in mind that we roughly want to go 6 months, which is why I'm saying we probably don't want to say we want to get a whole cubes module into 0.7 because it ain't ever going to happen. It's not going to happen in the next 6 years unless we get some more programming time on it, let alone the next 6 months.
So hang on, I haven't heard any or that many reasons for why.
Why what?
Who's asking for iris data in SunPy? I mean, why should they support it?
Well, it's a new thing, right? I mean,
yeah, some people have been asking me about iris data in SunPy, and also they're having a huge meeting in India to discuss, support for iris data. They're going to do one of those sort of tutorial things, and right now people there. That's at the end of the year. So right now, people over there are running pirated versions of IDL. And if we can say that, oh, no, you can use, in fact, you can use SunPy free and everything, that would possibly bring in a lot of people over there. And then also, one of us, somebody from Goddard, because this is Goddard money, could be funded to go to India and actually give a tutorial on SunPy support for iris.
Okay, so I mean, my point with that question was like a wish list is one thing, but a targeted list of what we're going to support has to have some reasons behind why we're going to say we're going to do this in 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
So reasons. Is Python 3.x how who uses Python 3? I don't.
You should be.
Yeah, I know it should be. You should also eat more broccoli, but
But you won't start using Python 3 until we support Python 3. So we can't go, you should be using Python 3 because we don't support. We have almost every other major Python project in the scientific Python ecosystem is now supporting Python 3. And there are a lot of features coming, especially in Python 3.5, which are really good for scientific computing, like a matrix multiplication operator as a first off, type hints. All the new development is happening in Python 3. We've got to go. We can't sit here forever.
So see in the wiki then, I would like to see those reasons for each of that, for each thing that's under the in the wiki. You just rattled off a whole bunch of important reasons why we should be supporting 3.x. The same for everything else. That'll give us an idea of what's actually what we want, what the community is asking for, what give us some idea how important it is and the feasibility. Otherwise, this is just a wish list. We're just throwing out things which, great. It would be wonderful if we had this. Well, it would, but
that's a good idea, Jack.
Give me a reason.
I agree.
Steve, link in chat. I found it at last. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, sure. We can put stuff in the wiki. That's good. I don't disagree. It's a good idea. But we can also have that discussion with the power of audio right now and write up notes later. So the current things squabbling for time in 0.7 are AstroPy coordinates, Fido, Iris support, and Python 3, ephemerides. But that's really just David getting it fixed. So I would argue that we don't hold 0.7 on ephemerides. That is when it's done job.
I want light curve improved up to the level of map, because light curve is map is the best supported data type.
Yeah.
Light curve is the second best, and light curve should be up to scratch.
I agree. Fido is a prerequisite for that.
Okay.
So we can't talk about improving light curve until we've fixed Fido.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just make that the primary push for 0.7 is light curve? Would light curve and secondarily Python 3. I think that's really, if we're realistic, that's really all we can. If we want 6 months, that's all we can do. Python 3 is probably a bit of a push, but we can say light curve.
I'm happy with saying that we don't release 0.7 until we've done light curve and Python 3. I don't think Python 3 is a bit of a push, actually. Python 3 is not hard. It just needs time. It just needs a group of...
Well, that's the problem. We'll
come back to Python 3 in a minute. Let's discuss light curve first. So light curve, light curve, when we say improve light curve, what we mean is create a factory interface like map, right? That's what you're meaning, right, Jack?
That's what I've edited the wiki to say that, light curve factory, yep.
So, actually, can I suggest we go one further? And Stuart, you'll yell at me if you think this is too hard. Can we just have a single point to load, one factory, SunPy.load?
No. I mean, in theory, but in practice, that's just going to get ugly. Like, that's just going to be... The API will be a mess. Like, because you'll have concatenate flags for light curve, the cube and composite flag for map. You'll have to worry about an option for manually overriding the data source. You'll have to worry about having one factory registration for everything that makes sure that you don't have two things that return valid for every source. It would be messy. I mean, come on, when you load a data type, you know whether it's a light curve or a map. If you don't know whether it's a light curve or a map, why are you trying to load it?
Maybe you want to find out what it is.
Like, come on. How often do you find a FITS file named Bob lying on your hard drive and go, what the hell is in this?
So far I'm not convinced by that particular line of argumentation, but I do...
It's technically not worth the developer time.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that. It sounds that way. But I do think, I'm putting it out there, I do think that's where we should go. Anyway.
I mean, the problem is that it's hard enough to provide a standardized API on top of just image data. Like, the amount of hacks and stuff we have to deal with in map just to provide a standard API on top of all the different layouts of FITS files and everything else that can possibly be created. When you start expanding that to different data types that are not even that could be in tables or could be in ASCII files, could have self-describing metadata, could not have self-describing metadata, could be spread over multiple HDUs in a FITS file, could be in an ASDIF file. We've become a monster to create and manage. Like,
well, I mean,
that's definitely not something for 0.7. So,
okay, that's fine.
So, light curve factory relies on having. So the map factory works because there's a clear separation between download and load. So you download the data and you load it into memory in 2 steps.
Yeah.
So we can't create a light curve factory nicely until we have that separation for light curve, which means fixing Fido.
Agreed.
So maybe if you have a look at the 0.5 to 0.6, like all the changes to map pushed a lot of other things in SunPy So hopefully, changing light curve will push a whole bunch of stuff as well.
Yep. No, I mean, light curve has been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. But okay, so Fido, we have to fix the downloader. I mean, it's close. Actually, doing light curve factory once the downloader is in is not that difficult. I might get bored and do it in a weekend. You know, it's something that someone could do in a month. Anyone in this call could sit down and write the light curve factory in a month.
Yeah. Okay. So that sounds very doable then.
One of the reasons why it's quite easy is because there's one that already exists. It's called the map factory, and to a large extent, you've basically just got to copy and paste it, and then add in a few extra bits.
Yeah.
So a couple of the edge cases will probably get tricky, but it's not something that's particularly complicated. So the list for 0.7 is actually becoming. I'm going to go edit the wiki. It's actually becoming Fido. Now. Who's been editing this wiki page since I started?
Me.
Fine, you do it. Yeah, you've got to get unified light downloader in, and then like a factory. I would also like to make Python 3 in 0.7. I think we're really going to start becoming the one archaic holdout if we don't pull that in soon. And I don't think that none of us are going to be motivated enough to do it unless we actually agree that we're going to hold 0.7 until it's done. Because then people will be like, oh, I want to get 0.7 out, I better fix Python 3.
Yeah. One other thing that I think we should add, which actually I just want to call out by name because I think it's included in this. So improved support for the data type will be we'll have to fix meta, right? So meta in Lightcurve right now is kind of crap, and that's not our fault. It's because meta doesn't really come down usually. But we need to create, what I think would be great is if we created a meta object that was the same across Lightcurve and map.
I don't think we need to do that for 0.7. Again, I'm not saying it should be done, but you don't need that for Lightcurve Factory.
No, you don't need it for Lightcurve Factory, but you want it because if you want it to be as good as map, that is one thing that is very important.
So
what
you're talking about with that meta object is actually to a large extent just what map does. Like the vast majority of code in generic map especially is abstracting metadata.
Yeah.
So I'm not disagreeing that is maybe something we should look at doing. I just think that again is another design project. Because I mean, you started working on an SEP for it, and that's what it needs. It needs a design effort. That does, because it's not. That is something that has more edge cases than a bazillion-sided polygon. Like
right. But we can get a first crack at it because there's actually a. Well, one, let's just say that the design for it is fairly easy. Because it's basically a dictionary with some restrictions on it, and we can follow the header implementation for fits.
No, we need to abstract that away. That's the other thing that needs that needs to be abstracted away. I don't like how dependent map is on that at the moment, because things like generalized WCS and the cubes shouldn't have to follow that standard. That's another problem.
I'm not sure I understand what your issue is.
Again, another issue, but
all I'm talking about is like basic information like the name of the instrument, the time range of the data you're looking at, the the wavelength range, all like very standard information that you want to have in your light curves as well as your maps.
The thing is that I don't.
That
So
needs to be provided, and
does
we'll
your-
have to deal with that anyway because right now light curve is partially not up to snuff because it does not provide that, and we will have to provide it. Essentially,
that's not a. Okay, hang on. Wait a second. Before I go off on one, I need to actually make sure that I'm not going to be saying something that's not what you're saying. So, are you suggesting that the meta object provides a unified interface to the dictionary, or it just holds the raw dictionary and whatever keys that may have?
It's a unified interface.
Okay, I am to be convinced that that is something that should be in its own object rather than the data type. Because the model we have for map works very well for that.
But that's only because most of the stuff for map comes in the form of fits, and fits solves that problem.
No, the reason that the map works is because you can, on a subclass by subclass basis, define. We have a list of properties in map. You have a list of properties in map like instrument and Carrington longitude and.
But we just stole those from the fits header.
Yeah, but they are, because they are defined, they are not hard linked to the fits header. Because if I create a object that is read out of an ASDIF file and doesn't obey the fits WCS standard, then I can define those out of anything in the metadata dictionary, anywhere.
Yeah.
What I think a meta object needs to be able to do is it needs to be able to hold things more complicated than just one dictionary. I think this is, Steve, this is a big problem, and I have some ideas about it. You clearly have some ideas about it. I think that it is something that we need to work on, and I don't think it's something that needs to go in 0.7.
I think we're going to have to do it anyway, because the first thing we're going to run into is the metadata for light curve is crap, and we're going to want to solve it. Because
well, the basic solution is that when you concatenate two light curves together, you have two sets of metadata, and you only combine the date range one. I mean, that's the most basic solution, and we can release a factory in that state. That can be done. We don't have to solve this problem to release a light curve factory.
Well, guys, I'm gonna sign off for now. So, and I'm interested in this discussion, but it sounds like it's gonna be a long one, I think.
Yeah, I've also got to go in a little while as well, so we really should save this for another day.
Well, I particularly think this is a board meeting discussion, actually.
No, I think this is something that needs to probably be thrashed out on the mailing list, but we need more minds on it. But
yeah,
I don't like having architectural discussions on board meetings. The board is not for code architecture discussions.
No. But the issue is what should we do in 0.7?
So I think what we should do in 0.7 is Fido, light curve factory, and Python 3.
Is that as much as light curve support improvement you wanted, Jack? Did we lose Jack?
Jack is for some reason muted. Jack, you're muted.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, I was typing a lot, so I didn't want to bother you. I use map a lot. It's great. Light curve should be the same. So
But what do you want exactly in map? Do you just want to be able to load the data the same way you do in light curve? Do you want light curve to like behave the same, or do you want other features in light curve that map also has?
Some basic information of what's in the light curve, like you have in the meta header for images, would be great.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the way that you learn how to handle stuff.
I think that a lot of that discussion could be informed by actually writing the light curve class.
Yeah.
I think that is. I agree that is obviously a really nice feature to have in light curve. My point is, I don't know whether we want to hold 0.7 on that. That somewhat sounds more like a light curve factory 2.0 problem to me. As long as we have a functional version of it, we should release 0.7.
I can be convinced, but
Again, with the 6-month thing and wanting to get it done, and then we can get some feedback on it, people can use it, and then we can start considering the larger implications of properly handling generalized metadata.
yeah.
Well, yeah. So we shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right? Just if we get something down that starts this is going to be version 2 or 3 of light curve anyway. By the end of 0.7.
Yeah.
When you think about all the versions that we've had. So in writing the light curve data object, we'll find out what metadata we can rely on from all types of light curve, and then from there it'll be easier to see the generalization. But we'll only do that by looking at the data and the metadata from light curve.
Yeah.
I mean, even just like making light curve consistent across different instruments. It's not at the moment, you know. You kind of have to play around with it for a while to realize what's actually going on.
Yeah, what was that example you had on Friday, Laura? I forget about that.
So, like, even when you're creating light curves, like some light curve objects take the date. I know it's kind of something silly, but like some take the date and some take a full start time string, or you have to truncate it, and it's not consistent. Then to do it, you have to just kind of play around with it until it works.
Yeah. So that specific problem is something that is architecturally fixed by the light curve factory.
Yeah.
Because the reason for that at the moment is that the way light curve is implemented, if the data provider only provides date in whole days, it is
exactly.
to if it provides arbitrary time frames. Yeah. Okay. So, does someone want to take on some kind of supervisory role for various things, for these 3 major features we want in 0.7? And I don't have a web camera, so I'll be putting some kind of intense stare face.
I don't mind it. I was working on a little bit anyway with Fido last year, so I forget the person's name, but he was jointly supervised by me and you, Stuart, so I'll have a look. I don't mind looking at Fido.
One of the things that David's Google Summer of Code student is doing is writing more sources for light curve. And I keep hammering on him and David to get him to work on Fido. I think he's was looking at it, but I don't hold out a lot of hope.
Sorry, I don't mean to shirk increased responsibilities, but I do have to go as I have another meeting after this.
Yeah, we'll go both. But
yeah, I do think we should talk about some generally we need to talk with the board about, does everybody agree that light curve should be the thing for 0.7 and have people agree on the 6-month type of timeline, and some general discussion of like where we are headed would be also really good. So.
Yeah, again, I have things to say on these that is best suited for when I'm not being broadcast on YouTube. But
so whoever has not responded to when we're going to meet, please do respond to those emails.
And if anyone wants to come and observe because they're interested, they are welcome.
Okay, I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys later.
Your PR's still broken, same error.
Okay, well, I'll fix it. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we've beaten this, have we not?
I think we have here. Okay, so I'm going to pull that. Pull the milestone on that. I would also really like coordinates to get into 0.7. I'm going to be really sad if I don't make that happen. But that I'm happy for that to be a when it's done thing. Has anyone else got anything amazingly important or otherwise to say on this?
Nope. We should stop.
What? No, what? No, no.
All right. Bye.
Yep, okay. See you later, people.
See you.
Bye.
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 Thanks.
Yeah. Ciao.
Hey, Alex, you got a plot we went.